studio, I'm going to be quilting this Silver Bells quilt. It was made by Cheryl in Canyon, BC. I'm going to be doing some free motion, some ruler work, some ghost quilting. Let's go stitch.
This pattern is called Silver Bells by Coach House Designs. There is a link in the description, and the fabric is Holiday Wishes by Hoffman Fabrics. When I work on a custom quilt that has all of these fabrics from a particular line of fabric or a particular designer, I love to do a piano key border. Usually the border fabric is chosen because the quilter loves it the most, or it's a fabric designed to tie everything together. A piano key really just blends in and doesn't add any thread buildup, and is really nice when a quilter wants to square up their quilt because you can cut off a 1/4 inch and not impede the border design like what might happen with a feather. I had decided to do a double pebble in the stopper border during my planning session, but once I stitched it out, I thought it looked a little busy. I am planning a pebble background, so a double pebble, in my opinion, was just a little overkill. So I picked it out and went in with a pearl chain instead. When I stitch out a pearl chain in such a long space, I make sure to add some registration circles as I approach the corner, so I can start adjusting the size of the circles, so when I get to the corner, the circle lands perfectly. This doesn't always go to plan, but it did today. In the bells of this quilt, I started with some simple back and forth lines. My plan for this quilt is to add a lot of background detail and keep designer fabrics of the bells simply quilted. This silver fabric is part of each bell block, so I added a little basic undulating feather for some flair. As I moved into the main body of the bell block, I planned to do an echo of the piano key border at a 45° to again not distract from the fabric. You may have also noticed that I chose not to do a lot of thread color changes in this quilt. I did that so I could move through the quilt a little bit faster. I do come back a little later with a red and a black thread in these more saturated fabrics, but mostly I stuck to this cool gray color throughout. After quilting the bell blocks, I need to add an echo around the block to separate it from the background filler. The background is going to be a mixed pebble design, and I think separating it from the block with an echo will allow the piecing to be more prominent. I love quilting this mixed pebble design. When I do it, I usually stick 2 or 3 basic shapes so it doesn't get too wild. Here I'm doing pebbles, blunt swirls, and concentric circles. But you can change the look of this by incorporating a double or triple pebble, basic swirls, or any other shape you can think of. I've had a lot of comments recently looking for tips on how to quilt this type of background filler, and this could be a whole video on its own. So just know that that video is in the works. I do want to hear from you though. There is a 6-question survey link in the description. I've only had 16 people respond to it, and I would love it if you would do so I can make sure I'm making the videos you want to see in 2026. But here are some quick tips. Shorten your stitch length. When I quilt pebbles, I like to have my stitches at about 12 to 14 stitches per inch. Use a matching thread. It's harder to see the minor imperfections when your thread matches the background fabric. Don't worry about being too perfect. No one is going to have their nose this close to your quilt critiquing how round they are. Vary the sizing of your pebbles for interest. Add a swirl or shape whenever you feel or find space. There's no perfect formula. Well, or at least there isn't yet. Maybe I should work on something like that. And I know you don't want to hear this, but practice. It took me an entire queen size quilt to get consistent circles, and that's just kind of the nature of it. If you do have any more questions or suggestions, feel free to drop a comment below. I read every single one of them. During the marking phase of my design process, I marked where I was going to put some ghost quilting. If you're new here, make sure to go check out my ghost quilting series. The first video featuring a guitar has all the pertinent information, but the other videos are pretty fun to watch. I started by using my 4-inch round ruler to stitch out a circle. And then I filled that circle with some holly berries and leaves. And then I broke thread and stitched an echo around that circle so the filler background design doesn't overtake the holly. The final detail I added to this quilt was a rope design along the ropes of the bells. I've been using this design for years and I still haven't perfectly mastered it. For some reason, my brain really hates it, but I'll keep practicing and I'll get it one of these days. If you have a minute to fill out my survey, I would love to hear from you. And make sure to join the email list to keep updated on upcoming announcements. All the links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.